Let's make it happen. Intimacy that you didn't really think about. And remember, I freaked you out. I said, I'm intimate with some teachers here at Jordan. You're like, whoa, Van, that's crazy. But, in the sense of there's different levels of intimacy besides physical. So, Sam, what's one type of intimacy that you really weren't that familiar with before we had our discussion? Crisis, yes, definitely. When you go through a crisis with other people, you are definitely closer to them, right? Like a family crisis you might have, or at school there could be a little crisis, right? Some kind of issue happen, and you're closer. You go through that experience of the crisis, and that makes you closer for sure. Giselle, what's another? Spiritual, yeah, spiritual. You think, I might talk about the meaning of life with my friends. Do you guys talk about what it means to be alive? Why we're here? What am I doing? Those are all kind of spiritual things, aren't they? Okay? Or if you belong to a church, Ezra, and, you're talking about spiritual things, scriptural things, which you may or may not have done before, that's a spiritual closeness, right? The people at your church or whatever spiritual activity you do, you believe in certain things, right? Why we're here, why we're doing what we're doing, and that's a type of intimacy. All right, okay. Jesus, what's another type besides crisis and spiritual that may be overlooked? What's that? Conflict, yeah. Conflict. Conflict, even people that you're kind of going up against, okay? Do you develop a closeness with your enemy? Well, you know the phrase, know thy enemy, right? Okay. Yeah, if you're like in a battle or a war with somebody, Malik, does it help to know more about your enemy? To battle them more effectively? Oh, for sure. You definitely need to know your enemy, okay? Or else you're going to be in bad shape. See this country, the United States. What's been traditionally our biggest enemy country-wise? Who's the other country that we've been? Russia, right, or Soviet Union. When I grew up, that was a big thing. It died down. Now it's back up being a problem. In China too, right? Yeah, no, some people argue it's China now, right? Because who has a bigger economy, China or Russia? China by 50 times. So, should we be worried about Russia with a very, very small economy versus China? Maybe not. But why are we worried about Russia? What's the one thing they have that is concerning? The nuclear weapons. And that's what it was like when I was a kid, right? I grew up, yes. It is. It is. But a nuclear weapon only takes one, right? To do major damage. Where I grew up near a place where they made nuclear weapon stuff, fuel called plutonium. You've heard of plutonium before? Yeah. Anyway, they use it in bombs. My city was like 50 miles away. So we figured they're going to nuke us for sure, right? Because it's going to be over. It's going to be curtains, okay? But let's not talk about that. We're still here. Hopefully we will be for as long as we can. All right, Fia. What's a relationship skill? Either maybe you can say you have or you might be lacking. Your choice. Something you think, yeah. Respect. So you have respect, you need to learn more. Okay, so good. So you understand what it means to have respect for other people. Okay? Good, I'm glad. That's kind of where it all starts, right? Respecting other people. If you have that, you're going to do okay. Now, what's one that you think, being a young person, you might not have developed as much so far? How about, I'm thinking, commitment. Can you commit to something? You're a freshman, right? Can you commit to something being this young for the long term? Probably not. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Commitment. Should you commit to a person long term right now at your age? Probably not. Okay, you need to be able to be open to new experiences. That might be something you might want to save for later when you get a little bit older. Okay, not saying it's impossible. Leslie, can you give me an example of something, either a skill you have or maybe that you need to develop a little further? Communication. So you think you're a really good communicator, or things you need to develop? Need work on that? Is it hard to communicate effectively with friends or maybe a romantic partner? Yeah, so I'm thinking that's probably something most of you guys need to work on. I mean, I'm still working on it, with my wife and others. Communication, right? How to communicate effectively. Now, what's something you feel like you're comfortable with right now? Well, do you know yourself? I mean, what about honesty? Can you be honest with somebody? Or do you think you have trouble with being honest? It depends. Whoa, what? What? You can't be honest? It depends. Okay. Oh, I get it. You don't always want to. Being honest with somebody can be a little scary sometimes, right? So let's put that over here. We'll work on that. Honesty. Okay. What are some other things, anybody in the room, that you feel comfortable with right now in terms of you and having relationships, healthy relationships? Jason, yes. Do you feel comfortable with that you can do? Huh? Relationship skills, like we have on page 67. Everybody look at page 67. Yeah, go to 67. That's right. We got intimacy, commitment, honesty, communication, understanding, empathy, flexibility, forgiveness, fun. Do you think you can have fun? All right, let's put that down. You understand, you know how to have fun. That's the number one thing. Is that why we have relationships? Partly to have fun. We have more fun when we're with others. How fun is it to go to Disneyland by yourself? Never. That's a bad example. Bad example. Okay. Let me think. How fun is it to go to a movie by yourself? That's pretty fun. I mean, again, another example. Is there a good example? How fun is it to go to the park by yourself? Fun. How compared to going with other people? It can be more fun with other people, right? Other people. Right? Yeah, am I right? Yeah, it's kind of more fun. Like, I love to ski. You guys know skiing, downhill skiing? But I went skiing by myself for the first time this year, and it wasn't quite as fun, because part of skiing is being with your family, being with friends, talking about it, being on chairlift, just talking up, having conversations. And the funnest part that I had was when I would go meet strangers on the chairlift. Because if you ever go skiing, now remember this one thing. If you go by yourself, you don't have to wait in the lines. You go right to the front, and then they kind of fit you in, because there's always an extra spot. So check that out. Go by yourself, no lines. Okay? So fun. What about, this is a good one. Forgiveness. Do you think you can forgive right now? Amy says, no way. No way. I don't know. Some of us are harder to forgive than others, right? Yeah. Let's see. Flexibility. Can you be flexible? I'm just going to put that. Let's say you can be flexible. Like, let's go to this movie instead of that movie. Let's go to this. Let's go to Cane's instead of Chick-fil-A. Are you flexible like that? Okay. We're gonna That's easy. Like, they're both good, right? I can be flexible. Go to In-N-Out instead of Carl's Jr. Is that okay? Oh, maybe that's not a good example. What burger place is almost as good as In-N-Out to you? Is there any hamburger place that you like almost as much as In-N-Out? Okay, so you go to Tam's Burger instead of In-N-Out. You'll be flexible with that? Ooh, what about Fantastic Burger? Way better. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. All right. Chili's. That's a sit-down restaurant. Ezra? Douglas Burger? You know Douglas? Douglas Burger. You guys know Fat Burger? You know about Fat Burger? You been to Fat Burger? That's a good burger. Go to Fat Burger. Okay, is Jack in the Box on the same level of In-N-Out? It is? It is? It is? I don't know. No, I do like, Jack in the Box has this new smash burger. I'm curious. I like Jumbo Jack. I do like Jumbo Jack with cheese. I'm saying it's good. Sourdough Jack all day long. But I don't know if it's on the same level, but it's still good. All right. So my former student, Mr. Abrego, he's an electrical mechanic. And he was in my college prep biology class, so he had basically like AP kind of classes, going to college, all this. But he went to college, and guess what? Guess how he liked college? Didn't like it. And he struggled a lot, and he got kicked out twice, he said, from LBCC. It wasn't his thing. It just wasn't what he liked to do. But he kept his ear. He was motivated, and mostly he was motivated. He met this girl at Long Beach City College who he really liked, and they were together. And he said, I got to make something of myself. I got to, if I want to marry her, I need a good job to help support her and a family. Yes, Jason. So yes, they did get married. So going to college was a good thing for him, right? He met his wife there. But I think it was, who was it? It was a friend of his or a cousin who worked for the city and talked about all these different jobs you can get through the city, government. And he decided to become this electrical mechanic. So he went and got a certificate at LA Trade Tech, I think. And he applied. It took him about a year to finally get accepted, but he got accepted through LA Department of Water and Power to become an electrical mechanic. So basically what he does, he got trained to work on the power system. These are different ways power is generated in our state, mostly gas, like burning natural gas. This is solar, and here's wind, and that's, what kind of power is that on the right? On the right, that's nuclear power, okay? But he works on, he mostly works on these things here. Like how many volts comes through the outlets here? You guys don't know? You don't know? No. It's not that much. It's 110. 100. Anyway, he works where it's like 50,000 volts, right? It's so much electricity, you can be standing next to the power, and it can jump across the gap and get you. It's kind of freaky. So this work is kind of dangerous, but do you think you get paid pretty well? Yeah. After just training a little bit, when he gets hired, you get about $40 an hour. Okay? $40 an hour. Will that work with no college? So you get $40 an hour, which is about $70,000 a year, with no debt, nothing. And guess what he makes now? Now he's 35. Guess how much he makes now an hour? 1,000? No, not that much. He makes about $80 an hour, and that works out to about $160,000 a year. $160,000 a year. So is that enough to help support a family? For sure it is, right? That's a good chunk of money. And his wife also works. She has a really good job. She works, and he wanted me to tell you this. She works cybersecurity for Disney, and she also makes a good amount of money. And he says if he all did it again, he would do that instead. Like, he thinks that's a really good job. Probably doesn't. Is there a chance of getting electrocuted doing cybersecurity? Not as much. He really has to be careful. He could get killed or maimed in his job. Luckily, he's not, being careful, hasn't been injured or anything. So he bought a house at 27, which is insane. Because you know how much it costs to buy houses in Southern California. What's that? Yeah, in Lakewood, him and his wife. And this is how I ran into him. I ran into him at the Lakewood, Costco. And he started telling me about his story. I'm like, you got to come tell your story. Because the job that you're going to have, you probably don't even know it exists. There's so many jobs. Like, name some jobs or careers off the top of your head. Football. Hey, professional athlete. Keep going. Iron worker. Oh, that's good. What else? Welder. Is that it? Huh? Yeah, when I think of like jobs, I think, teacher, doctor, lawyer, businessman, truck driver, work in a store somehow. Things that you see all the time, right? But that's less than half of the jobs that are out there, huh? Cashier, yeah. But there's so many jobs you don't even know about, you never heard about. So I want you to keep your eyes open, okay? And you can get paid a really good salary. So yeah, these are some of the ones. This is the equipment he works on. He goes out and fixes these. Oh, you do? If something happens to those, can they just hire AI to go out there and fix it? Can a computer go out and climb up in there and replace parts and fix it? No. Can somebody in China or India fix that? No. It's got to be somebody here that can get up and go out and fix that stuff. So the job market, you never know what's going to happen. But I'm pretty sure that you can't have a computer or robot or somebody in another country do that job. Get out there and fix all that transmission lines, okay, and all that equipment. You have to have somebody who's highly trained and skilled to go out there and to fix it, okay? And that job is going to be in demand, and you're going to get paid well for a job like that. If that's what interests you, being outside, going out to different places, working with a team, fixing problems like that. Now, this isn't a job you had to go to college for, but you think Mr. Abrego had to study really hard to become electrical mechanic? He did. But in his job, all the studying he's had to do, he gets paid to do it. So could you study better if you're getting paid to study? Yeah. I think so for sure. It's motivation. He got paid all day to study. Come to the office where he works, and then he sits down and he studies. Okay. Well, now his salary makes $160,000 a year. He basically works part-time because he loves spending time with his family. If he wanted to, he can make $250 or $300 a year. You just have to do overtime. You guys know what overtime is? Yeah. Yeah, you just work over. But guess what? He loves his family, and he loves spending time with them, so he chooses not to do that. So he's going to have a really good life because he can support everybody, plus spend time with his family. That's awesome. Some jobs you work the whole time and never spend time with your family. But he can do that because of the job that he has. Yes? Question? Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions about his job? How you get it? You go get a certificate.
Here in this high-power electrical testing facility, we're going to find out why arc flash and arc blast are so dangerous. Let's check out the final preparations.
Let's go back. So this is going to show you what can happen if you're not careful.
We're going to energize this power panel, similar to the type found in almost every industrial facility, to see what happens when we create an arc flash. But first, I'm out of here.
Zip it. If you have your phone out, make sure it's zipped up away.
3, 2, 1.
Oh my God, it's going to do a slow motion. See how
a worker has no chance of getting out of the way.
That's fire.
An arc flash can reach 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit, causing disabling second and third degree burns in seconds.
Okay. So, oh yeah, so this is him working. These are on some old equipment from the 1940s. He's up on a ladder, you know, replacing these parts that are almost, 80, 90 years old. That's probably like 15 feet. So, and that's him right there. Yeah. 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 So, yeah, are there any questions? Oh, you take it's a certificate. You get LA Trade Tech is where he took it. But I'm sure LBCC has these kind of classes too. Okay? All sorts of trade jobs, you can just get a certificate, sometimes for free through the community college. And then sometimes sometimes it takes a while to apply. You got to hang in there a little bit. But he said it took him a year. But think about, is this year going by faster than 8th grade? Yeah. Yes. Guess how next year's going to be? Faster. Guess how the year after that? Faster. So really a year kind of seems like a long time to you, but in a couple years, a year is going to feel like a couple months. I'm not kidding. Life just speeds up. Not that fast. But I appreciate you going with you're in the groove, Ezra. Okay?
So that's called electrical engineer.
Electrical mechanic. Oh, and he's so he's 35, and he thinks he might want to be in management for that, right? So he doesn't have to go out there and get electrocuted and make more money. So to do that, he's got to get more schooling. So guess who's paying for his bachelor's degree? His job. LA Department of Water and Power is paying for his bachelor's degree. So it's going to be free for him to get his bachelor's. And you know how expensive college is, right? So yeah, more than that. And so check this out. So some jobs will pay for your college, which is pretty incredible. He does have to pass the class. So guess what? If he doesn't pass the class, guess who now has to pay for the class? And he has to pay, which he probably can pay for because he makes almost $200,000 a year, right? But he doesn't. Now, would that also be a motivating factor to get your work done? Yeah, it would be, right? It's all about motivation. So it's free, but it's not free if he doesn't pass. Anyway, so then he, maybe 5 years he can be a manager, right? Make a little more money, not have to go up on the thing. Just to rise up in the ranks, have some upward mobility, have some, get different jobs. And there's so many different jobs in LADWP. So if you're interested in that, let me know. He left his contact information, and he'd be happy to talk to you. Okay, yeah. I'll ask him for cards. That's not something he normally does, but I can give you the contact information. Okay. All right. Very good. You gonna call him? All right. Any other questions? All right.